The other night, I got into a debate with my brother about Caitlin Clark. He said a random male high school basketball player is just as good. I didn't agree. So today, I want to ask a bigger question. What actually makes an athlete better? Hey, I'm Amiel Cohen. I talk about ideas, life, and everything that actually matters, but usually doesn't get said. What makes an athlete better? The other night, I was watching TV with my brother when Caitlin Clark came up. What started as a casual comment turned into a full-blown debate. Is she actually better than a random male high school basketball player? My brother thinks no. He sees women's sports as second-rate by default. Good for women, sure, but not worthy of real praise. In his eyes, if a regular 17-year-old guy could hold his own against the best woman in the world, then she's not better. End of story. I disagree, and not because I think women's sports are the same as men's or that Caitlin Clark could hang with Steph Curry. I just don't buy that raw strength and testosterone should be the only standard of greatness. I think Caitlin Clark and athletes like her are far more impressive, far more skilled, far more accomplished than some nameless high school kid, even if biology gives him an edge in a one-on-one. Think about it. To be a starter on a decent boys' high school team, you need to be good, but not once in a generation good. There are thousands of those kids across the country every year. Now compare that to Caitlin Clark. She's not just the best in her school or state. She's the best in the entire country for women, maybe the best ever. That doesn't happen by accident. Her court vision, basketball IQ, timing, creativity, shot range, those are elite. She's playing the game with a level of polish and intelligence that most male high school players will never come close to. But because she wouldn't win in a one-on-one against them, my brother says she's not better, just good for a woman. The phrase good for a woman sounds harmless on the surface, but it carries a lot of weight. It dismisses everything else that makes an athlete extraordinary. It says that unless you can outmuscle a guy, your skills, your dominance, your legacy, none of it counts. To really get what I'm saying, let's step outside of gender for a second. Imagine a world-class lightweight boxer, fast, technical, smart. He's a champion of his class. Now put him in the ring with a clumsy, mediocre heavyweight who outweighs him by 70 pounds. The heavyweight might win in a sparring match just by leaning on him, but does that mean he's better? Of course not. We recognize that skill and strategy matter. That's why we have weight classes, to give greatness a fair arena to shine. Or take another example, steroids. If a player hits a home run that barely clears the fence because he's juiced to the gills, or another guy hits a clean home run with perfect form and no enhancements, who is the better hitter? Not the guy with the inflated power. We intuitively understand that the quality of the performance matters, not just the result. The same goes for Caitlin Clark. Her skill isn't just a little better than a random high school boy's, it's light years ahead. If that boy edges her out in a one-on-one, it's not because he's more talented. It's because he has a biological advantage he didn't have to earn. And she's closed the gap with precision, mastery, and effort most players, male or female, never come close to. Now, I'll be the first to say that some people do go too far in the other direction. There was that moment a few years ago when John McEnroe called Serena Williams the greatest female tennis player of all time. And the interviewer pushed back. Why not just say that she's the greatest player ever? McEnroe didn't flinch. He said, well, if she played on the men's circuit, she'd probably be ranked around 700th. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Serena herself admitted that she couldn't hang with the top male players in a real match. The physical differences are real. That's not sexism, it's biology. But here's where I think McEnroe and others miss the bigger point. Being ranked 700th doesn't actually make those men better. If you watch Serena and the 700th guy side by side, she's the one that would impress you. She's the one people pay to see, not because of politics and pandering, but because she's extraordinary in a way that transcends rankings. The guy is faster, maybe stronger, but she's better. Just like Caitlin Clark is better than a random teenage boy on a high school team. So no, I'm not saying that women's sports are on par with men's in terms of physicality. I'm not saying Caitlin Clark could make an NBA roster or that Serena Williams could beat Novak Djokovic. I'm saying something much simpler. Being better isn't just about who wins in a one-on-one. It's about mastery. It's about impact. It's about how far someone has pushed the limits of what's possible within their arena. Caitlin Clark didn't get handed a spotlight. She earned it. She worked her way into the national conversation by doing things most athletes, male or female, will never do. And to write that off because she happens to lose to a guy who was born with a testosterone advantage, that's not objectivity. That's tunnel vision. Greatness deserves to be recognized wherever it shows up. And if we can't see that because we're too locked into one definition of better, we're not being realistic. We're being lazy. I'm Amiel Cohen, and thanks for listening.